is so weird. Okay, well. Alright! I guess we better do a live stream. Hey guys. How y'all doing? I have had a excellent productive day. If you guys have watched my... I don't even know why I have Instagram. Where is my phone? I mean, I have a phone. It's got the Instagram on it. It's got this Instagram thing. Where is it? Oh, brother. Go. Oh, let me see if I can find that Instagram thing in a second. Let's see, got that Insta chat thing going on. There we go. All right. So I was posting pictures today on the Instagram, and okay, so this guy's not a bad guy. I just found this entertaining. So today I spent there's stuff in my room. I spent the day, a chunk of the day, on a tractor, and the tractor. I am at the Survival Gardener on Instagram. So I spent the day on a tractor tilling up. Get this, 12,000 square feet of garden area. Down on the island I had 7,000 square feet. And I said, you know what? That's not enough. So if we're going to take an acre, which I think is like 41,000, divide it by 12,000. That means it's like yeah. Anyhow, whatever. It's over a quarter acre. So I spent a lot of time on a tractor today. Let me see. I'm gonna show this. I gotta show you. Alan says tilling bad. I'm getting to it. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna show you guys a picture here. I had so much fun. Why did I ever do anything by hand in my entire life? What's happened to this guy? This is not the David we knew. Okay, you gotta see this. This is cool. Here we go. Oh, come on, you're really not gonna let me show it. Just a second. So anyhow, I spent the day on a tractor. I posted a picture of me on a tractor. I have to go through Photoshop and I have to fix it so you can actually see it, because when it downloaded it gave it a different extension of some sort, so that's the way it goes. But in a second I will show it to you. I will show you this picture. And because I'm on a tractor and tilling a huge area, it's probably some sort of horrible violation of everybody's a view of, you know, permaculture or organic or whatever. But I've never actually fit into any box very well, so you know I'm not really a rules follower. Here I am on a tractor. This is me on a tractor with a pith helmet. Oh yeah. Check it out. And you see that area behind me? That's what I was tilling up today. So, how do I make this thing go? There we go. I didn't do the click at the right time, sorry. So, I post this picture and I get this I get this comment. No-till is the way. No-till is the way. And then American Bear writes, ain't nobody got money for 6 inches of compost over 3 layers of cardboard on that size plot of land if you trying to get food in 2020. And then the guy comes back and he says, please go read One Straw Revolution and tell me that's what I'm advocating. Do you even farm? And then the other guy comes back again and says, I know what David meant when he said he's trying to get food in 2020. When you gotta use what you got for the sake of money. Let me see. Here, this is what I wrote. I said, yeah, no-till is the way if you don't care about getting food in 2020. And the guy says, my no-till garden has got plenty of food. I'm assuming you're not a Fukuoka follower. I'm not a follower of anyone but Jesus Christ, folks. But anyhow, there's this ongoing thing here, and I said, I've read Fukuoka. I discard the concepts when needed. Plenty of ways to farm. Gathering enough biomass to mulch 12,000 square feet is ridiculous. And then the fellow says, I personally find foraging biomass to be a great workout and a thrilling adventure, but I understand you have a large family and probably better ways to spend your time. I admire what you do and just hope for the most sustainable approach to farming. Farm on, brother, farm on. So very nice interchange, but it is always hilarious. And then Burks Courtney says, but tilling is terrible for the soil. Haven't you read the no-till method and you call yourself a gardener? Actually, I just want to drive the tractor. Can't wait to see the progress. And then London Baptist says, my fungal webs. And then Wesley James, where are the wood chips? Oh man. So yeah, I had to laugh because there are a lot of different ways. There are a lot of different ways to farm and to garden, and in this case, I was just, there's no way. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of wood chips after Sally, but I'm not wood chipping 12,000 square feet. Not when the neighbor's got a tractor right down the road and said, go ahead, I can borrow it, you know? So I went ahead, used the tractor, tilled up this big area, and we worked around the trees that were there, and right now I have a brush pile burning down so I can take those ashes and spread them because the soil is quite acid. There's a lot of blueberries. There's blueberries and yaupon holly all through the woods along with a lot of pines. So we're gonna burn it up and spread that all over there for the pH. And I'm still sure hitting a T hard. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, it was good to get it tilled. It felt very good to get it knocked out today. Now there is a problem in that tiller deck is not going any deeper than 4 inches, so it's enough to kill out the grass that's there, but it's not as deep a till as I would like. So we're gonna have to work on that. But when you, as I've said before, when you need food quickly, you just do what you need to do to get food. And when you want a lot of food, do what you need to do to get food. I give you permission. If you need somebody to tell you, just go ahead and do it, go ahead and do it. I don't like chemical farming. I don't like destroying the soil. I don't like weed killer. Somebody told me, they said, the way we do it is what you gotta do is spray that area with Roundup, let the stuff die out, and then till it under. No, I'm not gonna do that. I would rather have more weeds than there's no way. The only thing, like I've said, the only thing I ever sprayed Roundup on was Kogan grass, and I had to do that to eliminate it so I could get my nursery license. Because I tried to remove it by hand over and over again, and I could not do it. And I needed to launch the nursery, and they were like, "Get rid of it," So, there's just there's a craziness about methods that people go nuts. I mean, somebody starts gardening for the first time, and somebody gives them a copy of, say, what would be a really good one? Somebody gives them a copy of Totally Crazy Easy Florida Gardening. And so they read this book, and they start gardening with some of the methods in the book. And then somebody comes and says, why are you doing that? That's not the right way to do it. What you need to do is do, double dug biointensive. You're going to do it like this. And they're like, oh. And they'll say, here's why you do it like this. And they'll give you all the reasoning for it. And then they start doing it like that. And then the next person comes along and says, hey, you're turning the ground. You're destroying fungal mycelium. You're destroying the soil web. Have you ever seen Elaine Ingram? She's a doctor. And you're destroying everything in the soil by doing this, this double digging nonsense and forking the ground up. You let the air in and it kills bacteria and it kills fungi. You should never, ever do that. No, what you need to do is stop tilling, and you need to gather a whole bunch of biomass and stack it on the ground. Or it may be, what you need to do is Fukuoka method. Just go and, maybe mow and throw down a bunch of daikons and let it punch holes in the ground. And, there's a bunch of different methods, and people get really hung up on their one thing. As you guys know, I am a fan of Nicholas Nazim Taleb, the author of The Black Swan, Fooled by Randomness, the author of Skin in the Game. He was talking about how we misinterpret, or we grab a system because we think we understand how this particular system works, but we're not really paying attention to all the details around it. It's like we create a box and then we shove everything in the box. And he uses as an example the Mediterranean diet. So the Mediterranean diet comes out. It turns out that folks in this one area of Greece, they have the largest population of centenarians. That's people who have lived over 100, right? So there's a lot of folks, and people are living long lives there, and they're living long, healthy lives. So what they do is they say, well, what are they eating? Well, they're eating seafood. They're eating really good olive oil, extra virgin, fresh olive oil. They're eating a lot of olives. They're eating goat cheese. They're eating yogurt. Maybe some pita bread, and some more fish. So they look at it and they say, okay, what is the Mediterranean diet? This diet has got to be the thing. So he says what they do is they look and they say, okay, the Mediterranean diet that's got to be the healthiest diet because look at how long these folks are living. He says what they miss is they go home and they make all this stuff and they eat it every day, right? You're going to eat your pita bread, you're going to eat your olives, you're going to eat your olive oil and your fresh vegetables or whatever they're eating, figs, pomegranates. So they're people go and they're going to eat this Mediterranean diet every day. He said when they do that, they're not actually doing what the Greeks do. Because he said there's another factor they completely overlooked. And that is that area had one of the most devout Greek Orthodox cultures, in all of Greece. So the Greek Orthodox Church has required fasting. And fasting from all kinds of things. Like for a period of time you're not eating any meat. For a period of time you're abstaining from this. For a period of time you're not eating at all. For a period of time you eat this and you don't eat this. And you eat this and you don't. And he said there's something like 200 different fast days of some sort during the course of a year, if I'm remembering correctly. But it's ridiculous. So he said what's going on here is they're actually getting, eat a bunch, and then there's a gap, and then they eat some, and then there's a gap, and then this thing is out, and then this thing is in, and this thing's out, and this thing's in. as they observe the feasts of the different saints and the holidays throughout the year, they've got different fasts going on. So they're going up and down and up and down and up and down. And he said, so when you say like, well, what do I need to be healthy? Well, I need a certain amount of iron, I need a certain amount of protein, I need a certain amount of good fats, omega-3s, I need flaxseed oil, I need vegetables, and you're like, well, I need moringa powder, you know, I need anthocyanins, so I'm going to eat blueberries, I'm going to eat blackberries, I'm going to eat pomegranates, and you can make this big list of all this super healthy stuff that you're supposed to have. And then what you do is you make sure that you get it every single day. He said it's not really the best way to do it, because your body actually thrives on the diet changing, and at different times your body wants different things. So he said one day or 1 week he may go vegetarian, and then the next week he's eating carnivore. He might fast one day and eat a gigantic steak the next day. And he said what it does is it keeps resetting your body. You know, that when people start a new diet, almost always they tell you after a week or so, I feel the best that I have ever felt in my entire life. I have never felt so good. I feel so good. You know, I used to have this thing where I had a runny nose or you know, my skin would always itch or whatever. And they're like, after a few weeks, I was so much better. And then, you know, no. Maybe it starts to deteriorate. Why'd you quit that diet? Well, I don't know. I just kind of fell off the wagon. So you've got these different tools you could do, right? You maybe eat a bunch of blueberries in season. You know, eat a bunch of blueberries in season. Eat greens when they come in. Eat a whole bunch of apples when the apple tree is loaded with apples. It's probably good for you. And so with gardening, you look at the different methods. You say, hey, you know, I'm gonna in this particular situation, I am renting some land, and there's a tractor, and I want to put in a fall garden this week. Boom, fall garden put in. You know, if you have a long-term food forest plan that you want to build, there's almost nothing better than piling up that biomass. You know, get your grass clippings, big hunks of log, throw them on the ground and let them rot down. You can use the different systems according to what you're doing. Sam 1600 says, wait, I'm a no-till farmer. What's wrong with no-till? There's nothing wrong with no-till. There's nothing wrong with no-till. And I would say there's nothing wrong with tilling when you're not losing soil either. There are times when tilling it can be very, very destructive. There's a book called Tree Crops by J. Russell Smith, I believe was his name. And Tree Crops is one of the best books I ever read. He was urging people to get away from corn, because what they were doing is they were tilling the hillsides and growing corn, and then after a few years, the mountains were denuded of their topsoil. There's big gully washers coming through, and even you know, fertile ground with just a little bit of slope getting torn up over time, and you lose the soil. I've watched the regenerative agriculture. I've read Gabe Brown's book. I've read Fukuoka. I've read Lasagna Gardening. I've read Ruth Stout. I venture to say I've probably read more gardening books than anybody in this entire chat. This is what I do. I research, and I read and I write. And you eat the meat and you spit out the bones. And this 12,000 square feet, I'm doing something very interesting this time. I'm working with Steve Solomon on a micronutrient selection, a selection of a bunch of different elements to get the highest quality produce I can possibly get out of this acid sandy loam. So he's got me looking for stuff. Look, I got my list. This is also on my phone. This is a smartphone. I'm kind of a Luddite. I'm a Luddite who uses technology extensively and hate it. Okay, here we go. So here, he gives me this list, and I go down to the farm supply store, and this lovely Mennonite gal is my victim, and I'm like, do you have these things? Okay, agricultural lime, that's not dolomite? Okay, yeah, got that. Agricultural gypsum, no, gotta go over to the other place to get that. Okay, do you have reactive rock phosphate? I don't think we have reactive rock phosphate. We've got, there's another form of phosphorus. What I ended up doing was getting a big sack of bone meal. Had bone meal. Okay, I'll substitute bone meal for phosphorus. Do you have potassium sulfate? No, we don't have potassium sulfate. We've got muriate of potash. Guess I'll use that. Okay, let me try. Do you have manganese sulfate? She said, well, we got magnesium sulfate, so now it's got to be manganese sulfate. It's like the evil cousin of magnesium sulfate. No. Okay, do you have boron? Or borax? Or solibor? No. Do you have zinc sulfate? Oh yeah, we have zinc sulfate. Okay, great, yes, okay, good. And you have copper sulfate. I need 12 grams of it to cover 10 by 10 square feet, so just like a pound or so would cover me for like ever. Yep, got copper sulfate. Great, we got copper sulfate. What about kelp meal? Kelp meal? Okay, what about sodium molybdate for molybdenum? I need 0.0015 pounds. So anyhow, holy moly. So there's all these weird things because Steve is all about the trace elements, micronutrients, and good forms of the majors, the NPK. And so working out, Gaius Tesla says, working out the ratios between different elements would be really useful to know. Yes, there are Mennonites in Alabama. There are Mennonites all over the place. I love the Mennonites. They love to farm. So I'm going through and getting this stuff, and I managed to go get some of these micronutrients from Alpha Chemicals. alphachemicals.com, which has all kinds of weird stuff. Steve sends me a Skype, and he says, hey, let me introduce you to Alpha Chemicals. So you can get sodium molybdate and sulfur and zinc sulfate and potassium sulfate, potassium chloride, manganese sulfate. You can get magnesium chips, large chips of magnesium. Don't know why you need them, but you can get them. You can get copper oxide, calcium sulfate, all kinds of cool stuff. Ammonium chloride, weird. You can get powdered aluminum in case you wanted to like fast track your Alzheimer's. Sea salt has some of the micros. However, it has them in very, very small quantities compared to the amount of sodium chloride that's involved. Magnesium chips and salsa. That's right, Sean. I like that. Alpha Chemicals sounds illegal. They have kratom! Okay. So, anyhow. This, by the way, is some kombucha my friend Elizabeth sent over to us. It's made with beets. It's crazy. So, what I'm going to do with this garden, there is a decent amount of organic matter that's in the ground. It's kind of a sandy loam, and it's just been grass for a very long time. So it's not been burned up by being tilled and rotated over and over again. So there's a few things that I'm going to do. So one of the things is that right at the beginning here, I'm going to add cottonseed meal for nitrogen. I'm going to add bone meal, and I am going to add the potash in various forms as well. I'm going to kind of mix some bone meal and mix some muriate of potash so I can get some of both. Yeah, that's right. I've got too many amendments in my head at the moment. And then all the little trace stuff I'm going to mix into cottonseed meal and broadcast it, because you're not going to really burn things with cottonseed meal, but I get cottonseed meal for dirt cheap, like $15 a big scoop of it apparently. So that'll add a little bit of organic matter. It will feed the worms, and it will also add in nitrogen that's slow release. It works really, really well to grow cabbages. And then I've got my lime and I've got my dolomite, and I'm just going to go to town. I'm going to add as many minerals as possible. So the vegetables will have a ton of available nutrients right down to all of those micros. And I'm not going to apply them in a large enough quantity to be, toxic. I have to, at the same time, I have to go and get get a soil sample and send it off to Logan Labs, and I'll get a full analysis so I figure out exactly what I'm missing and what I have too much of already, and then I can really amend appropriately. But Steve is brilliant on the micronutrient stuff, and he's done a lot of study on the micronutrients and your health and how you feel. There's a book called Soil and Health, which he recommended to me, and I have it, but I haven't read it yet. But his book, The Intelligent Gardener, talks all about balancing the different minerals. So I'm going to do that this time. Since I have Steve as a resource, why not go with it? I haven't properly followed his methods ever, because I don't properly follow much of anybody's methods. But I have this great big space, and I do want nutrient-dense food. I don't have the time. I just moved in. I don't have the time to make a big pile of compost. I don't trust purchased compost. I don't trust purchased manure. And I don't really want to just throw chemical fertilizers all over the place. It's always this balance, Because I could say, well, cottonseed meal probably has some pesticide residue in it. Yeah, it probably does. Probably GenMod. Maybe the worms are going to have, they start growing eyes or something. But I figure the soil is probably going to break it down. It'll be fine. It's not going to kill us. I'm not going to put Roundup out there, But it's safer to get cottonseed meal than it would be to get manure, because you really don't know what's in the cow manure. The long-term herbicides will completely destroy your garden. I've grown great gardens with cottonseed meal. Decent Park says you can get free coffee grounds from coffee shops in garbage bag quantities. Yes, and they're really good. If you could do one bed at a time, and if you have smaller beds, this is the biggest garden I will have ever put in. So I like, if I got a garbage bag of coffee grounds, that would be great if I had a 4x8 garden. But when the garden is 200 by 600, it's a little insane. So we're gonna do some experimenting, and of course I'm gonna take you guys along with me. I had my beautiful wife do some filming today of the process, and I'm kind of explain as I go along, and we'll all learn together, because I haven't done it on this scale before, and I haven't had access to a tractor. And this is the first time I have gardened in zone 8B. I was in 9A/8B before, so I'm about a half a zone colder. And I'm gonna just be experimenting with some stuff that I haven't done before. And these are gonna be gigantic, long beds. I'm gonna do my 4-foot wide rows. I think I may do some skinnier, but these rows I can go along and stomp out the pads, kind of rake out the pads in between, and make my nice little mounded beds again, like I did down on the island. And they're going to be 120-foot long beds, which is pretty awesome. Yes, Charles, this is live. Welcome. So, hey, it's going to be really, really fun. And I got all kinds of seeds from the seed store. I've got kale and broccoli and cabbages, and not only that, there's a chunk of these gardens that I am going to simply green manure. Once I plant in what I want, I'm going to do beds that are green manured. And so that is a really fast way to add some nutrition to the soil, to gather nitrogen from the air, to gather carbon, and to put a bunch of organic matter into the ground and replenish organic matter. So what I have so far is I have clover, I have red clover, I have rye, the winter rye, the tall one, and I have field peas. And I'm gonna put all those together, and I also got some daikons. So we're just gonna go boom, 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 and do some of these beds completely in cover crops and let them just grow and get all lush and green. And then in the spring, till them under, and then I've just added compost to that whole area. And the amount of root mass and carbon that rye creates is unbelievable. So when it's balanced with that nitrogen fixing ability of the field peas, it's a great thing. So if I get some other stuff, I'll throw it out there too. I'd like some, like maybe some mustards or whatever, you know. No Z words. I love daikons. I want to make some kimchi, and I love making sauerkraut, so I've got both of those, you know, cabbages and radishes. And I've got a friend who's growing a ton of ginger and turmeric, so I've got that to pull from too. And Karen, thank you very much for the super chat. Karen says, made it, better late than never. Glad you're here. Always glad you're here. Yep, mustard greens. Mustard greens are one of the things I'm growing. I'm growing turnips, I'm growing rutabagas. I got a lot of stuff. I would like to actually, I need to get some black-eyed peas. Now, that sounds crazy because this is not the time of year for black-eyed peas. But what I want to do is start a bunch of black-eyed peas in the cover crops and just simply let them freeze down. So that's going to add a burst of nitrogen, and then they'll die out, which is fine. Gotta grow collards. Yes, you are absolutely right, Carolyn. Tree kale, I don't know if tree kale will grow in 10B. It did not seem to like the heat in 9, and it died out. It died out for me in North Florida. Tina says, can I grow cabbage in an 18-gallon tub here in Central Florida before January? Yes, plant it now. Lots. Blissful Acres off-grid homestead says, what can I do to get rid of small ground squirrels? We live in the desert and have rocky ground. I have not dealt with ground squirrels before. If anybody has any suggestions. I mean, you do have the options of trying to figure out how to trap them. You could trap them, or you can get like a little rat terrier to go hunt them. Olives. Yeah, we could grow olives here. I want to grow a big bed of sugarcane too. I think that would be pretty fun. But the fall gardening, getting those fresh greens right through the winter, you can do that in Zone 8. Even in Zone 7, you can often have greens through most, if not all, of the winter. So that's nice. Carolyn says, Carolyn sends a $5 super chat and says, future chicken fund. Yeah, and I've saved the other chicken fund too, so I am going to get chickens, Carolyn. Decent Park says, what perennials are you thinking of? That's a difficult thing, because I'm renting, again. You know, it's like, how much do you really want to invest? So the gentleman I'm renting from would love it if I planted a bunch of trees here, so I'm probably going to order. He said he'll pony up the money if I want to buy a bare root for the spring, so I might put out 20 peaches and 5 or 10 pears and that kind of thing. You know, and I can also rent land and grow trees on it, but it's hard to say what I really want to do. I don't, you know, I would like to get chickens though. Tim EF says, Hancock Seeds usually has iron clay cowpeas. Okay, cool. Alright, let me put that. I'm going to save that, Tim. I will bookmark Hancock seeds. Thank you. I often use Johnny Selected seeds, and if I can find a Whole Foods or something, or some place with the bulk bins, I'll go and just get bulk beans. That'd be fun. Mulberry, yes, I have a mulberry to plant in the yard here. They're very good. Natasha says maybe some rabbits too. They're quite tasty and portable. Yeah, but they're a lot of work. We had rabbits before. They are tasty and portable, but they are quite a bit of work. They're almost worth it though, just for the manure. That was really, really good. Hey, it's good to see you, Raven. Thank you very much, Terry. Terry sends a $10 super chat and says, good to see you live from the States. More Chicken Fun Monday. Much appreciated. I found there's somebody around here that sells hens that are about ready to lay. Like 6 months, like just about laying age hens for $5 or $6 each. That is really hard to beat. Really, really hard to beat. I have to get a mailing address, Leaf. I appreciate it. I just have to get. I don't have my PO box set up yet or anything. I don't even have. There's a lot of things I don't have set up yet. But I'll get it soon. Thank you. I'm glad to be back. Trinidad in the house. All right. Welcome, Leo. Feed a rattlesnake into the burrow. That would be fun. Whew. All right. So, anybody have any fall gardening questions? Anybody got any cool stuff they're doing this fall? I mean, I can't tell you. I am so psyched about putting in a fall garden and to be able to just go and till that huge area up. I was thinking of doing it bit by bit, digging beds or whatever, and then my friend's like, I'm gonna come over and bring a tractor tomorrow. You want to do that? Yes, I want to do that. So while you guys are thinking, I have this guitar, and we'll sing for super chats. Karen says, let's see. How are Rachel and the kids adjusting to normal living back in the States? Well, I'll tell you, I never knew the Dollar General was so great until I went without a Dollar General for 4 years. Walmart is the promised land. Tractor Supply is like God put his hand down to us, filled full of tools and dependable working clothes. I just can't believe what it's like. Today, 2 children took their bikes a few blocks down to the Dollar General with a few bucks in hand to buy some hot dogs and marshmallows and cook 'em in the fire. You don't know what you got till you do without. I didn't know what I had until I bugged out. So I'm no longer an expat, I'm an ex-expat. Dollar General brought me home. Slow-mo moon buggy sends a $5 super chat. Says, Bumble chicken foot can be solved by putting a chicken in a box with 2 inches of Epsom salt water. Just cut a hole for the chicken's head. Okay, that's really cool. I mean, I know that the magnesium is very good for you. I mean, if you're feeling depressed, Go put a few cups of Epsom salt in the bathtub and soak in it. Often magnesium deficiency makes you sad. As does bourbon deficiency, but, you know, moderation, folks. Hello from Oregon. Hello, Oregon. Beautiful country out in Oregon. I got family out there on both sides. Armando says, I am in Ecuador doing corn, beans, tomatoes, and potatoes. Wonderful. Sounds like you got a little higher altitude if you can do potatoes. Sean says, this is okay, that's a double supposed. That's like a double negative, Sean. This is supposedly supposed to be a cold winter, a cold freezing winter, a cold, low temperature freezing winter, but I constructed a greenhouse that'll serve primarily as a weather safe staging area. That's a good idea. I'm not picking on you, Sean. Appreciate you. Natasha said, I tried planting a fall garden. Lol. A lot of things ate a lot of things. And a lot of things ate a lot of things. A few plants made it. We'll see if the hey! That comment is getting removed. Remove that comment. You can't mention the Z word. I don't care who you are. Nasty. That's not a vegetable. John says, I just ordered some honey locust seedlings to start my food forest. Awesome. I love the way those things grow. What is wrong with moving out of the States? There's nothing wrong with moving out of the States. They just don't have Dollar General. Carolyn says, tilling is the fastest way to start your garden this year. Got to get some food growing for that large family. Yeah, absolutely. It makes a big difference. IPA deficiency makes me sad and thirsty, Sean says. That's very good. Pawpaw seeds in the fridge. Fantastic. I got some peach pits I'm about to put in the fridge. Food Bear says, I am clueless on fall planting. Can you just talk about it or sing about it? Yeah, absolutely. The fall planting, you have to get the cold, hardy vegetables. Now, if you plant early enough before the fall, you can often get another round of, say, green beans. If you plant early enough, like 80 days or so, you might even get a few like hot peppers and that kind of thing, but it's not the best idea. You're kind of racing too much, and by the time a plant comes into proper production, it's freezing to the ground. I would do it with beans, but there's some stuff that's more cold tolerant, so it depends on how far north you are, what you can get away with, and how far before the frost you have to do it. So fava beans can take down into the teens. You know, peas, like English garden peas, they usually take down into the 20s without much trouble. Kale can take down into the teens. Cabbages take down into the 20s. Collards take it down into the 20s. Broccoli takes it into the 20s. Lettuce likes cool weather, but it doesn't like to freeze. So if you get a freeze event, you just cover your lettuce bed, but it likes those cool fall days. So my daughter's planting a whole ton of lettuce because she loves it. And so the trick is to plant the cold tolerant stuff that can take those frosts, and some of it may live through the entire winter if you have a mild winter, but if you're far enough up north, sometimes you can even go dig through the snow and get some greens from underneath. But the idea is to get the cold season stuff in, and because the deep south and Florida in particular and some other, you know, I imagine it's the same in Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, Southern California, and other places, it can get really hot in the summer. So the main part of summer, which would be great gardening season, say in Minnesota, is too hot and humid and brutal and buggy to grow stuff. So you get a spring season that pretty much goes from February through April, May, and then things start to deteriorate into June, July, August, and then you get near the end of September and you can plant for the fall season. You get September, October, November to grow again, and then stuff usually freezes in December or sometimes November. So you get these, you have two distinct seasons. But if it's a mild enough winter, often you can get, and you've got cold tolerant stuff, you can get it to go all the way through the winter so you can continuously have greens on through, which is pretty cool. Well, thank you. Food Bear sends a $50 super chat. Man alive, it's very, Generous of you. Some government fiat squares for your greatness. Do you have hog sign on your dunes? No, I have not seen hog sign. I've seen deer footprints and deer droppings, so I know they're out there. Some squirrels, not a lot of squirrels, but I'm gonna have to get my my hunting license and plug a few deer, because putting some deer away would be really good. And I'm fearful for the garden getting destroyed by the deer. So thank you very much for the fiat squares, much appreciated. It's a big help. Lachlan sends a $10 super chat. Thank you very much, Lachlan. My one of my best friends named his son Lachlan, so I like that name. It's a good name. It's a really good kid too. I've never met a Lachlan I don't like, but you're the only the second one, so there may be one out there. Let's see what we got here. Leaf says, I sowed some cauliflower again and some purple cauliflower. Ah, I'd love to grow the purple cauliflower. I have not done that yet. They're so cool looking. Dollar General still has cheap mason jars. Okay, I will. That's good. I'll look for them. Karen says, my fall garden has/will have tomatoes, peppers, peas, spinach, onions, garlic, kale, broccoli, beans, beets, lettuce, carrots, corn, watermelon, squash, cantaloupe. Holy moly. And it's good that you have that nice mild climate. I think you're zone 10, aren't you? That's awesome. It's great. I mean, like Fort Lauderdale, you can grow the cold climate stuff and the warm climate stuff all at the same time through the winter. Natasha says, do you put Epsom salt through the entire garden? I have. You don't want to do it though if you have clay, particularly if you have hard clay, because the magnesium in Epsom salt, magnesium sulfate, can make the clay harder to dig. You don't want to do it, and you also want to make sure you don't have too much magnesium in your soil. But in sand, it's usually not a problem. Like in Florida, I put magnesium, all over the place. Karen says, also growing some herbs. Awesome. It should be herbs. Let me see what we got here. City Shep says, hello from Colorado. Been saving plum pits and planning on sticking them in the ground as the temps drop. Hope for some free trees. Wonder if I would be better off sticking them in the fridge. The fridge gives you more control because you could see when they start rooting and you know exactly where they are and that kind of thing. But if you have plenty of them, stick some in the fridge and some in the ground. I just got some plum cots I'm going to try and plant and see how that goes. I think plum cots, I don't know. Will they work? I don't know. I don't know if they're sterile or not. I haven't even looked them up yet. But they were on sale at Walmart, like $1 for 3. All right, I'll buy 9 of them for the kids. Mark says, did you abandon why you abandoned your home in the tropics? Yes, in live stream from the other night. Natasha says, the deer were nice enough to fertilize my garden once they ate everything. Huh. Karen is zone 10A. Yeah, that's an ideal climate. Leaf says, I hope to put some fennel in the dirt. I'm hoping for good-sized fennel bulbs. Yeah, that would be great. Fennel is great. I had it for a couple of years in North Florida and it did well. Sean says, Epsom salt helps depress tomatoes. Oh, yes, it does. SoCal Kevin says, no-till doesn't work here with our hard clay soil. Yeah, I love my broad fork for breaking the clay because it gets it really deep. And if you do no-till, I did no-till on hard clay in Tennessee, rocky clay, and what I did was I stacked up a bunch of biomass like over a foot deep, and I just let it rot down for a year. And after that, it actually loosened it up underneath, and I could work with it some. A Fishes Loves Life said, I forgot to tell you, D to the G and the chat, I won a rain barrel today for my city. Well, congratulations, you deserve it. You deserve a rain barrel. Everyone gets a rain barrel. Dixie Living Homestead says, what can I do to grow in clay? Bricks? Well, you can stack up biomass and let it slowly break it down and let the worms work on it. Another thing that really helps clay is gypsum. Gypsum will loosen clay. It helps it flocculate. tilling clay at the right time and putting a bunch of organic matter into it helps, but I think gypsum is probably your best bet. If you can get gypsum and mix it in there, it will make a difference in the tilth of it. You can also dig, and like if your drainage is really bad, you can make mounded beds that are higher. You just make mounds of the clay. Like your bed is actually maybe 12 inches tall with the pads cut down in between, so when it rains, the pads fill full of water, but you know, it's open and the roots aren't going to drown so much. Thank you very much, Raven. Raven says the $10 super chat says, tip for singing and good gardening advice. Much appreciated. Connie Williams says, in Orlando, Florida, can you grow apple and pear trees? Yes, you can. You can actually grow both of them. The pear trees are a little touchy because of they tend to get dieback issues and some rot and stuff like that in the summer. You got to kind of keep an eye on them. But you can't really grow a lot of the northern pears easily. But if you get what are called sand pears, you get you're probably in the 150 to 250 chill hours range, I would reckon, in Orlando. So pineapple pear, probably you can get away with Hood, Baldwin, Florida Home, some of those pears. But if you call your local extension office and say, hey, which pears do you guys like to plant here? I went to the Orlando extension and they had about 3 different varieties there. As for apples, there's a guy called Kevin Hauser who wrote How to Grow Apples in the Tropics, a book on growing apples in the tropics, and it's Cuffle Creek Nursery, and he talks about how you can actually extend apples range exceedingly. Now, most gardeners in Florida will tell you, yeah, you can grow Einsheimer, Anna, and Golden Dorset apples because they're all low chill and they will flower there in Orlando. However, if you follow Kevin Hauser's methods, you can actually do even better than that. You probably get away with Granny Smith, and you might get away with Honeycrisp and some of those other ones you wouldn't think could do it, because he will actually prune and keep the trees small and then hand strip the leaves before when he wants them to bloom, and that will cause them to go into bloom, which is just amazing. Really cool. But he's the expert on it, not me. I started a apple experiment in Florida and did not get to finish it. But you can bet when I get some land, I'm going to be experimenting again in Zone 8. Dixie Living Homestead says, tilling turns to clods, but I need quick results versus waiting for layers to improve soil. Yeah, if you could get a good bit of compost to mix in, that would help. But the gypsum is your best bet. Alan says, just had my first plum cut last week. Seeds are stratifying now. Great minds and all that stuff. Good. Good work. Let's see here. Raven says, hey, David the Good, was shoving weeds in my swamp water barrel yesterday and was thinking of you. You bring a tear to my eye, Rid. Yes, a cross between a plum and an apricot. And Rich Refuge says, my brother is flying from NC to my home, Washington, in 2 weeks to help me build my glass window greenhouse. So excited to have greens all winter. Is your brother the Dalai Lama? Let's see here. Charles de Matas says, I am trying a little hugelkultur for my compacted clay. Yeah, why not? Get that organic matter going. Question Everything says, fall garden, rhubarb, tomatoes, sugar snap, and green arrow peas, cabbages, lettuce, broccoli, cauliflower, beets, carrots, turnips, Brussels sprouts, collards, pak choy, Swiss chard, cilantro, artichoke, and more. Good work. Good work. Am I going to grow moringa? Yes, I am. And yes, I am in central time zone, I think. Can I grow cocoa plants in Kentucky? And Al Cook asks, Zone 8. They're very marginal even in South Florida, so no, I wouldn't think so. You might be able to grow carob trees, which are about the same range as oranges, but even that's going to be marginal. If you wanted to grow cocoa, you would have to have a greenhouse, and you would have to keep it from ever going below about 40 degrees and keep your humidity up. You can get away with it, but you'd have to have like a heated greenhouse in the winter. I didn't know there was any Zone 8 in Kentucky. I thought Kentucky was all Zone 5 and 6. Food Bear says, Jada microorganism solution is great for clay. Take leaf mold and grow it out in crushed potato and water and drench it in fall or early spring. Yeah, I need to experiment more with the Jada, but I imagine getting those micronutrients in there would make a big, or the microorganisms in there make a big difference. Let's see. Keep going. The goat, Allie says. Oh, not me. It ain't me, babe. I'm not the greatest of all time. I am okay for the moment. Charles says, difficult to grow enough food in the tropics, long dry seasons, light to intense, low nutrient reserves in soil. I think your main trick in the tropics is tree crops. Stick to the tree crops. Tree crops, and then get that a lot of chop and drop going. Sunder just started a swamp water barrel 2 days ago. Thank you. You are welcome. Go for it. Enriched Refuge remembers the greenhouse song. Matthew says, what kind of tropicals ended up coming back with you? Accidentally, of course. I think some pumpkin seeds. Maybe some peppers. And maybe a tuber about 25 pounds. And up in my suitcase. I might have got a few soursop seeds inside my wallet. Might have got a cocoa plant. Oh, but I forgot about it. Might have got some chaya. Might have got some longevity spinach. Might have got a few balambe seeds. I might have got a few invasive weeds. I might have got a whole bunch of stuff that just happened to fall inside of my suitcase. Or I might not have. If you work for the USDA, there was nothing in my case. Oh no, oh, oh, oh. Oh no, oh, oh, oh. Oh, oh, oh. Andish says, I came across this channel by complete accident, but I wish you luck. I wish you luck too, Andish. Arrivederci, Andish. Glad you're here. Allie says, also Chip and I have cuttings of whatever you want. If you're ever in Boynton, we adore you. Thank you so much. That would be cool. I mean, I've still got a mailing address down in South Florida. Thank you very much for Awesome Pack 80 for the super chat. And she asks, what would you be planting right now in South Louisiana Zone 9A? So nice to see you back. 9A was exactly where I used to live in North Florida. So I would be, if it's not too hot. Now, if we get another few weeks of 90-something degree weather, it's not good for fall gardening plans. You may have to wait through that until, get to October. I often did most of my fall planting in October. And I would put in, beginning of October, I would put in cabbages and kale. I love kohlrabi. Basically your cole crops, your brassica crops, put them in. And I would put in a big bed of lettuce and romaine and rocket and arugula and all that weird stuff. And the way I would do that is buy multiple packets of seeds and just turn a little bed up with some compost in it, and then just spread seeds down this entire long bed. It was like probably an 18-foot by 4-foot bed that was along the back sidewalk that led into our house. And that bed there was the salad bed, and we could get all the salad greens we ever wanted to out of it. So we'd go through there and cut, and I went to the thrift store and I got a few sheets. And on nights when it was going to freeze, we would cover the salad bed. And it was enough, the warmth of the ground underneath was enough to keep it from freezing. But if that lettuce freezes, it all gets damaged and it's terrible. So you have to make sure that you cover it. when you get frost events. But in your zone, you're probably only going to get a few of those. So all you got to do is make sure you cover it when you get those events, and you can have salad greens all the way through the cool days of winter. So that's what I would plant. And you can also put in your English peas. You can put in garlic if you have a good southern variety of garlic that you know. You can put in green onions, chives, but not a lot. Like your stuff that freezes, your regular bush beans and yard-long beans and some of my summer favorites. Don't do those. I tried fall planting potatoes. I didn't have much luck with it. Terrible yields. So just go with those cold crops and the cool season lettuce if you're ready to cover them. You could also get away with radishes. It's not a very cold climate. Sean says, hey David, we're looking for land. Would you pray the Lord lead us to the land he sees fit for us to have? Land that we can use to serve him? Yeah, we can pray about that right now. Heavenly Father, we pray for Sean. Pray for his family. Pray that you'll give them the land that they need, Lord. We know that you open the doors and you give people what they're supposed to have when they're supposed to have it. And you own the cattle on 1,000 hills. Money is no object for you. Land is no object for you. You made it all. And Lord, I know he's asking in faith, Lord, and asking for prayer, and we just pray for him and just pray that you'll open the doors and that you'll give him this land, give him land where you want him to have it, and may it be a blessing to many people, Lord. May many people get fed. And we just pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. Raven says, a heated Florida room with a hot tub in it. I want to grow cocoa. Yes, that's the way to do it. Raven, a hot tub with cocoa around it. It sounds like paradise in the middle of winter. That would be so cool. Hey, Jonathan. Bob the Pumpkin. Now, I got this crazy triangular pumpkin that may have ended up. Bradley has been composting like crazy lately. Bradley, you're my kind of gardener. Compost like crazy. Let's see here. Can we grow anything that is like birthday cake? Sapodilla is probably the closest thing that I've had. Tastes like cake. Chocolate pudding fruit is too. Not easy to grow though. But if you plant the candles off of a particularly good cake, you might get more cakes, I'm not sure. Geodesic domes for greenhouses would be awesome. Let's see what we got here. Sorry, the chat kind of runs along here. Barbara says, I have no idea what's going on here, LOL. No, we don't either. We're just talking Florida gardening. What is the fastest growing salad leaf? Oh, that's a good question. I mean, the fastest growing thing would be just sprouts. I mean, if you wanted sprouts, sunflower seed sprouts are really good. Alfalfa sprouts are really good. Those are very easy. But lettuce is quite quick. You could be harvesting leaves in a few weeks. Radishes are very quick. Lettuce is very quick. Lettuce takes a little time to germinate. It's like 8 to 10 days sometimes, usually. It depends on the weather. And just, sprinkle them really lightly to the top of the ground and kind of crinkle it in, But sprouts are very fast. I mean, you can eat sprouts of just about anything. Mustard sprouts is like 4 days. Radish sprouts, 4 days, Fenugreek sprouts are great. If you eat them, you will smell like maple syrup. Okay, that's kind of awesome, Matthew. I did not know that. Now, a friend of mine has peppermint and what is it called now? What's that other thing? Stevia. Peppermint leaves and stevia. It's like having sweet, sweet, sweet candy. Okay. Pooh Bear says, due to the G, I gambled on a damaged wood chipper and it fixed cheap. I posted on SGDU that you need a prequel to compost your enemies. Wood chip your enemies. Oh, that is so harsh. I went through 4 cedar trees. The cedar trees were your enemies. I love wood chippers. You could deal with so many problems when you have a wood chipper. So, fenugreek maple. That's awesome. Alright guys, I am going to call this stream. Tomorrow I have got a bunch more to do out in the gardens. There's a big fire burning right there. Yes, I am open burning! Because I hate our mother, the earth. That's why, right? Haven't you ever heard of our mother, the earth? Why are you burning? Our mother, the earth, has a fever. And you're out there lighting her skin on fire? I hate you. I hate your channel. I hate your tilling. You hate fungi. You hate you hate Father Mushroom. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I'm burning a big brush pile. It's because I need ashes for this acid soil, baby. Alright, okay, you said I've gone full anti-eco. Oh, he hates the earth. He hates the earth. So many problems. So many problems here. I'm gonna do this. Hartmund says, hey Dave, will you sing us some Bermuda Grass Blues before you go? Father Fungi. That's good. Yeah, that's good. I'm gonna go a little slower. In my backyard. Oh, I looked in my backyard and what did I see? I saw Bermuda grass. I looked in my backyard and I wanted to put in the garden. I wanted a garden in my backyard, but I had all this Bermuda grass. Oh, Bermuda grass. I put in a little pause, call it a colon. A little pause before I talk about the stolens of the Bermuda grass. Those creepy Bermuda grass. You call it alone, oh, but I just want it gone. So I took out my tiller, 'cause I was starting. I took out my tiller to till the garden. But you can imagine what happened to me. I turned all the stolens under, and then as far as I could see, I got out Bermuda grass. I got those Bermuda grass blues. It was like I had a breeding program for the Bermuda grass. Oh, I said I ain't gonna let it get me. I ain't gonna pout. I'm gonna rely on my sister root stout. So I put down some cardboard, I put down some straw, Crushed that Bermuda grass, oh, I crushed down it all, yes. There's that gal's Bermuda grass blues. I waited 6 months, I pulled up a patch, and underneath there was still some living grass. It was white and it was yellow because it didn't have the sun, but as soon as I uncovered it, the Bermuda started to run. I got the Bermuda grass blues, oh, those Bermuda grass blues. Well, I don't like to spray on the stuff on which I sup, but I went down to the store and they told me to get some Roundup for that Bermuda grass. They said it would cure all of my blues. I went home and sprayed and I got rid of the grass. But now I got cancer, I grew 3 eyes. I've got a weird flavor every time I eat a pie. I got those Bermuda grass blues. I know they say it's not residual. I know that they figured it out in the judicial branch of California. But I don't know. I wish I hadn't sprayed. I wish I hadn't sprayed every single day when I look at my flaking skin and my buggy little eyes. And I've got some sort of metabolic syndrome, but I think it's in disguise. Maybe it's lupus. No, it's not lupus. Because I had that Bermuda. That's enough of that. It just keeps going and it just gets dumber, folks. Thank you. $2 tip for the music jar. $50 MX from Joe Serrano. Thank you very much. Alright, it's enough. Tilling is populist. That's funny. And Rich Refuge says, do you have any published music? Worship music, folk, any music? Love your voice and stuff. Well, thank you very much. I need to actually record some stuff. If you find David the Good on Gumroad, I have some things for download, but not a lot. I've been I've been trying to get the like an entire list of like a bunch of songs, including a bunch of live ones, and just cram them together into one big compilation. So there we go. You just ended the pandemic, dude. That's hilarious. All right, guys. I appreciate you all. Thank you very much to the. Thank you very much to the members. If you are a member of this channel, that's $5 a month. You get the little special thing next to you. The little you get your name in green because you're like super important. It's called Gumroad.com. If you look up, let me see if I can find it. Some of my songs are on there. Not my best songs necessarily, but hey, you know, I will drop it into the stream here. I used to put some singles on there now and again. But I want to thank you all. Thank you to the members that support this channel. You can use the machete emoji. And the machete emoji and the green thumb and the famous head. All very great emojis. Man, I mean, you don't get that on other channels, I'll tell you that. But that's just a way to support the channel without ads. But for all of you who super chatted tonight, thank you very much for that. Joe, Awesome Pack 80, Raven, Lachlan, Food Bear, Slow Mo Moonbuggy, that cracks me up. Karen Hill, Carolyn Smith, Terry R. God bless you all. Thanks for the super chats. And you guys remember to pray for Sean to find some land. And you know, let's see what happens. Yeah, you have to be on a computer to sign up as a member. So thank you all. I'm going to be filming more as I finish up the garden area. Hopefully we'll have those ashes done tomorrow. Finish that garden area up. I'm gonna arrange it out into nice beds tomorrow, Lord willing, and then we'll film that, and I'll put the whole video together of how we prepped it from grass and the tractor, and then we'll get the beds lined up, and then after that, what I will do is go through some of the crazy amendment things I'm doing, because Steve Solomon swears that if I use all these micronutrients and everything the way he recommends, we are going to have the best tasting vegetables, and everybody in the whole county is going to want to do the same thing. So I love this kind of experimentation. So we're gonna have a lot of fun, and I'll take you guys along. And if you don't have Steve's book, The Intelligent Gardener, I highly recommend it. It's very entertaining, and it's entertaining in an intellectual way. It'll make you think like most books would not. So except for my books, which are awesome. So anyhow, have a great night, everybody. Thanks for watching. Until next time, may your thumbs always be green.